Every single year scientists have been finding existence of long thought to be extinct species. Some of these include marine animals that were roaming the oceans back during the time of the dinosaurs. For example, one of these is known as the coelacanth. This creature was swimming around in our oceans hundreds of millions of years ago, and scientists said they became extinct around 80 million years ago. But in 1938 a living coelacanth was discovered in the Indian Ocean near the southern east coast of Africa. Incredibly, these creatures have been able to find a way to live for millions of years. With this much evidence gathered by the scientific community, it's no surprise then that it appears there are large tales involving the existence of real-life encounters with dinosaurs even in the modern day. Early explorers would tell stories of running into giant creatures and describing animals that matched that of long-extinct dinosaurs. However, science has told us that dinosaurs have been extinct for years. So this begs the question, what are people seeing? Most of these stories comes from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and many have called this place Earth's real-life Jurassic Park. One creature that's said to live in these regions is that of the Emela Ntouka. Those who have seen it describe it as looking similar to a triceratops. These ancient dinosaurs have been discovered by paleontologists over the years, and have allowed us to get a good idea of what they would have looked like. It was often referred to as the elephant killer, and when shown photographs the local tribes of the Congo said it was very similar to the triceratops. The creature is also reported as being described in the same likeness as that of an African bush elephant, that stands roughly 10 feet tall and weighs 6 tons. The beast is drawn with a large and heavy tail, brownish to grey in colour and with the body similar to that of a rhino, including a large horn at the front of its snout. What's interesting is that alleged fossils of this creature exist which some say is evidence of the creature once living on our planet, with others saying it could be a distant ancestral cousin of the rhino, or a possible descendant of the triceratops. Gathering evidence of this creature has been tough. The tribe native to the Congo region that reported the creature claimed to have purposely sought them out, further saying they wanted to eradicate them from the area due to their growing fears, its aggression and history of attacks. The last reported sighting of the creature was seen in Kenya, though many experts believe that if the creature did at one time exist then it's long been extinct for a few thousand years. This is given the lack of fossil record. However, the tribe report that the last creature to be taken down was back during the 1930s, with claims about a man that recovered the horn from the body of the creature, and holds it in his private collection. This man, however, has not come forward with the horn due to fears it will be taken away from him. Further information about the creature has not been released, and the only credible information to be found is that of evidence and work gathered by Dr. Roy P. Mackle, who describes the creature in his 1987 publication of his book A Living Dinosaur. With that being said, locals are still talking about the creature, and to this day stories are still coming out of this region. The Emela Ntouka is said to be a hostile creature and has allegedly been witnessed harming the local wildlife. The locals of the Congo have given this creature the nickname of the elephant killer. It's said to be very ferocious and will take on anything that gets in its way. It's been observed taking down the larger creatures that live in the Congo, and what's interesting is that tribes have said you can't find any large animal where this creature lives. They say this is because they don't want to go near the Emela Ntouka, because if they do they will get taken down on the spot. As mentioned, the Emela Ntouka is claimed to be around the size of an African bush elephant, brownish to grey in colour with a heavy tail. Early reports gave detailed accounts of the creature using its tail to take down its prey. Humans would also have to keep their distance as the creature has great eyesight, and can see prey coming from a long way off. Those who have seen the creature describe it as having a bulky body and stumpy legs. The colour of the creature varies depending on who you talk to, but most say it's grey. Interestingly, the Emela Ntouka spends the majority of its time underwater. Tribes have feared going into the water in case they encounter this creature. It doesn't like to be disturbed, and when you get close to it you can hear a low vocalization. From drawings and depictions by the locals, the Emela Ntouka seems to resemble a type of dinosaur. Although some have suggested it's a descendant of the Triceratops, others have suggested it's an aquatic rhinoceros. Cryptozoologists have said it's one of the most interesting cryptids out there, mainly because it's been witnessed by so many people. Over the last 10 years there have been some eyewitness testimonies about this creature. How true they are is another question. Explorers who have seen the creature have said it looks like a rhino, but with a much larger horn and a darker coloured body. They say that it's more hostile than a typical rhino and it doesn't like it when you venture too close. They are said to come out for only a few hours of the day, and depending on who you talk to, some have suggested it's actually a herbivore, feasting on the dense plants that scatter the Congo. One person who attended an expedition said the following: "I have always been fascinated about the creatures of the Congo. It's one of the most interesting places on the planet and holds a vast array of creatures. I have seen many incredible animals here over the years, but on this occasion I was looking for something a bit different. I've read and heard stories that unexplored parts of the Congo could be home to a prehistoric creature. Although I'm a man of science, stories like this do interest me, and I like to think there are still giant creatures out there. We came across an elephant and our guides pointed this out to us. I thought they were pointing to this and saying that this was the Emela Ntouka, but interestingly they were telling us something else. This male elephant had scratching on the side of its body. If I had to guess, I would say the scratches were around a few feet in height. The guide said that these marks were made by the Emela Ntouka. This creature is said to actively hunt elephants and some have allegedly been successful. After asking the guide if they had ever witnessed this happening, they replied yes. Adult elephants can weigh between 2 and 6 tons, so for a creature to be able to take down one of these it has to be large and strong. The guides told us that these creatures are rare and seeing them doesn't happen very often, but one thing they did say is that you do occasionally hear them. They described their vocalizations as low, saying that you know when you hear them because they vibrate the ground. They said that if you ever hear this sound you should run. The trip had more stories than encounters, but I felt that throughout this whole experience everyone was very genuine. They talked about this creature as if it was a normal animal. No one seemed to make up things and everyone's stories also matched up. I believe this creature could be a misidentified animal, but there is a small part of me that thinks there is actually something big lurking out there. In the 1930s, a researcher who was in the Congo at the time approached a local tribe. After talking to them for a while, he asked them about the horned creature. Interestingly, after describing the creature, they had said they'd eaten one. They said they used their spears to take down the animal. They described it as an aquatic creature which possessed a large horn. After asking the tribe if they kept the horn, they replied no. Another story comes from someone who managed to speak with the local people of the region. They said the following about their encounter. I went on an expedition many years back in the Congo, and it was one of the best things I've ever done. While here I heard stories of a large creature, and I thought that scientists may have discovered a new animal in the Congo. However, I quickly learned this creature was something the locals took very seriously. They told me about the animal that attacks elephants, and they said they are fearsome predators. Some told me stories about how they encountered this creature deep in the Congo. They said that it appeared out of nowhere and charged them. They said it had a very robust body and for its size is extremely quiet. They told me they don't go to these parts anymore because it's risky. While out on our expedition we saw many different types of animal species, but what I was most interested in was the animal the locals spoke of. They spoke about the creature in such detail that I had built up a picture in my head. However, when I asked them to take me to it, they were very hesitant. They told me the trip couldn't be made. To this day, I still wonder about what could be living deep in the Congo. Although we're taught from a young age that dinosaurs went extinct, there seems to be a large number of reports of dinosaur-like creatures. This doesn't mean they're real, and it could be a matter of people misidentifying modern-day creatures. But as some have pointed out, it would be strange for local tribes to misidentify the local wildlife. Interestingly, it's not just the Emela Ntouka that's been sighted here. There's a reason the Congo is called the real-life Jurassic Park. This comes down to the fact that many prehistoric-looking creatures have been encountered here over the years. One of these goes by the name of the Congo marto. It's said to look like a modern-day version of the pterosaur. These creatures have been sighted all throughout Africa, the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Papua New Guinea. Reports of these mysterious pterosaur-like creatures have left many believing with overwhelming certainty the possibility of the creature's existence, and the fact they managed to survive into the modern day. The name Congo marto actually roughly translates to the breaker of bones, as many natives have claimed to have been attacked by these flying creatures when they ventured too close to nearby rivers. These creatures are said to live near deeper waters and prey on fish. Some claims range from its wingspan being 4 feet to 100 feet wide, and natives have described the creature to be a perfect description of that of a pterosaur of ancient times. This is despite the locals lacking the education of dinosaurs and flying reptiles and their appearance. Although many of the sightings of these creatures are limited to the Congo, there are several reported cases that stretch as far as Papua New Guinea and all across Africa. Additionally, when European travellers were visiting these regions in the hope of colonisation or trade, they wrote extensively about encountering winged creatures, of which often attached their crew and carried away anyone who had ventured away from the group. Given the wide expanse of the jungles of the Congo being widely unexplored, as well as housing a large number of different bird species as well as larger flying species, it could very well be the case that the Congo marto is a direct descendant of a surviving species of pterosaur, and could have survived in the rich fertile areas of the Congo. A man who visited the Amazon in the 1970s encountered something similar. He said the following: "While exploring the depths of the Amazon, me and a few locals came across a giant bird-like animal. Its body was around 4 feet long and having a wingspan of over 20 feet. Its wings reminded me of a bat. We even saw the veins in its wings. After encountering the creature, it flew off immediately. After this experience, we didn't see it for the rest of the day." The locals said that these creatures had been witnessed by some of the local people before. They called them a name that I couldn't remember. The only way I can describe it is that it looks like a cross between a bird and a bat. I'm not trying to convince anyone, it's just something I experienced years ago, and to this day have no idea of what it was. Going back to the Emela Ntouka, locals of the Congo have reported that hippos have declined dramatically in the area, and they say this is because of the presence of the Emela Ntouka. So the big question is, what are people actually seeing? The idea of there being living dinosaurs around the world would excite many of us, but the facts point to this creature being something else. For this creature to exist, there has to be a stable population, otherwise it would not survive. This would mean there would have to be way more than 1 or 2, and if this was the case, they would be seen a lot more. However, believers in this creature point to the fact that we're still discovering new animals every year. The Congo is a remote place, and if there's going to be a dinosaur hiding somewhere in the world, it would be here. Believers also say that the creature has now gone extinct, and if people were to dig around in the Congo, they would find their fossils. For hundreds of years, stories have come from people allegedly witnessing giant spiders, dinosaurs, and other giant creatures. Some people have put forward the theory that this animal is actually a misidentified rhino. One of the reasons they say this is because of the horn, and due to the fact the creature closely resembles a rhino. Sometimes it's been witnessed underwater, and this can be deceiving, as things can take on a different look underwater. As of right now, the creature remains a mystery. To this day, explorers visiting the region are still told stories about the Emela Ntouka, with the locals very much believing that what they're seeing is some type of unidentified creature. As many have pointed out though, until solid evidence is discovered about the creature, many people are going to dismiss the encounters. Even scientists themselves have come forward and said that every year they identify around 15,000 new species, further saying that around 86% of existing species on Earth have yet to be discovered or identified. So there are still undiscovered creatures out there waiting to be discovered. So my question to you guys is, what do you make of these stories? And do you think there is any truth behind them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.